Hello, Chairs. How we all doing today? So the reason why this video is going to be a little bit later in the day was because I was waiting to get a full picture of why Apple stock was either going to go up or down. Turns out they beat earnings. Let's see what the actual numbers were. I'll drag it onto the screen. So for Apple, the earnings were, let's see. So it was a $1.39 estimate, and the actual is $1.46. So they beat earnings by a decent amount, so nothing bad there. Originally, we were going to the upside, but then Tim Cook, the CEO, started talking, bringing the market down with it. I shouldn't say the market, but bringing Apple down by quite a bit. So the big thing that's bringing Apple down right now is increase. He said something about increase competition from China, and also iPhone 15 faces both lackluster demand, ongoing component shortages, and a whole host of other things. So guidance is a little bit weak, so that's what is causing the decline in Apple. Now, in terms of how this is going to affect SPY, I would imagine that it would affect it quite a bit, depending on how Microsoft starts taking it. If Microsoft and Apple both go red tomorrow, well, no doubt about it that Apple's going to go red, most likely. But if it ends up really starting to pull back and Microsoft pulls back with it, then SPY could really get a snapback, which, in all honesty, would not be too surprising, considering that the price action. As you see here, we have a very clear. You got a right here and a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and this could be a lower high right here going to a lower low. So as you can see, that's how the market is kind of playing out right now. So we're getting some bearish price action mixed with bad Apple earnings. So what I'm kind of looking at tomorrow in terms of levels, we're going to be going over that. So first one always is Tesla. So Tesla, let's see where we close today. So we end up closing at 218.51. Big thing to watch on Tesla is the gap fill trade right here. So if we come back down for the gap fill trade, look for a gap fill at 206 to be exact. 205.99 will be a gap fill trade. I think what's more likely is that you're going to get pushed down to 208, depending on how people end up taking Apple's earnings tomorrow and the guidance. So that's largely dependent on that. But big thing to watch is going to be 208 for tomorrow. Now, after Tesla, we got Apple. And obviously, we know the story for Apple, but nevertheless, it's good to go over the levels. So, big thing to watch on Apple is going to be one, the gap fill trade, which is definitely likely because we're at what now in after hours? We're at currently 171. So, just say we open at 171. So that's going to put us right here. So if we open at 171, the big thing is going to be to watch is 168. Now, right before the bell, I did buy some Apple stock, but I did a very small position. So I'm not really worried about it. I'll be down, 4 or 5%. It is what it is. It's not a large position. That's why I did a very small position. So that way, if I was wrong, I'd be wrong by a small amount. But if I was right, it would be a nice little boost. But overall, not a bad idea. And who knows, it could pull an AMD where it starts dropping after hours and then rallies 9% into the day. So, you really never know with the markets how they're going to take things. But let's just assume that it opens at 171. Big thing is going to be to watch 168. Now, on Microsoft, let's see what we got here. So, big thing on Microsoft is we're at 346. We got a hammer candle, which typically could be taken as a reverse or a continuation. There's a higher percent chance that hammer candles serve as continuation patterns than anything. So the big thing to watch on Microsoft is going to be 351 and 346. If Apple really starts dragging down the market, then watch 337 to 346. If we start rallying tomorrow on Apple, watch Microsoft hit 346 to 351. And then let's see where they are after hours. So after hours, yeah, I would say watch that 351 level mainly. So watch the range between 346 and 351 on Microsoft. So next one's going to be NVIDIA. So a big thing on NVIDIA is going to be to see, like I've been saying, big level to watch was that 431. So we hit 405, push off of that, went right above 431, closed at 435. So now we have to watch 431 as a possible support area. So if it treats that as support and pushes up, watch 431 to 468. If we end up pushing below 431, then 405 to 431 is still in play. SPY, so the big lows on SPY are going to be as followed. Let's go over to the weekly. Actually, we'll stick to the daily. So the big thing to watch on here is going to be the gap fill trade right here. So this is going to be a high of 430, 423.50. All right, close enough. So the big thing to watch is going to be if the market comes down to here, watch a gap fill trade at 423.51. Now if we gap down overnight from 430 down to 426, which I think is very unlikely, but let's just say hypothetically it does, then watch the low of today as a gap fill trade to the downside. But if we end up pushing upwards, then you would want to watch that 433 level. We'll increase that a little bit. Watch 433 as you see major resistance, support. Now, the big thing to watch too is going to be the high of today, which was, well, let's call that 431. And then the low of today was 426.56. So we'll go down to here. So the main levels to watch here, it's going to be 426.54 and 431. These are going to be the levels to watch. I think that we're going to consolidate within there because if Microsoft is green, Apple is red. Apple could start dragging down the market, but ultimately Microsoft and Apple both are the heavy holders in the S&P. So I would expect some consolidation on the on SPY and S&P overall. And then my other trade is going to be McDonald's. So a big thing to watch on McDonald's is going to be this 267.11 level. That's going to be resistance. Support's going to be 262. I have another limit order to fill at 269.44. I have one share to enter here to solve some for profit. I'm up about 7% on Apple's. I'm not Apple, am I saying McDonald's stock? So not doing too bad on that. But that's why I'm watching tomorrow, traders, and good luck out there.